Hello and welcome to Engage TV, another episode from Australia. We are in the city of Melbourne. My guest today is a fellow caffeinated communicator. He is a connector. He is also the managing director of the C-Word agency under which he operates the Cellophane blog. In his spare time, he also manages to be the president of the PRIA, the Public Relations Institute of Australia Victorian chapter. And if he didn't have enough on his plate, he's just decided to dabble a little bit in educating young communicators at the RMIT University here in Melbourne. So he's a very busy man and we're lucky to have his time today. Jack Walden, welcome to Engage TV. Thanks so much for being here.
Well, thanks for having me.
Look, you've got so many roles and I want you to wear a few different hats today, so bear with me if we jump around a little bit. Firstly, as an entrepreneur and a director or MD of your own agency, from the start, when was the decision made and what kind of made you go out there on your own and want to start your own shop? Because a lot of our viewers are kind of young entrepreneurs or perhaps PR people in the industry that have that dream one day of going out on their own.
So the journey, I guess, for the C-Word began about 2 years ago. So it's in April we'll celebrate our second birthday. And I think that as a communicator, I've always really enjoyed working on a variety of projects and with lots of different people and lots of different clients. So I think there was a natural home for me in the consultancy world. And also because I work a lot with non-profits and smaller organisations, there was a natural, I guess, home for me with starting my own agency. So that's where it came from, and really just working on lots of different projects and having lots of different contacts and connections and clients led to the C-Word.
I'm glad you mentioned those C-Word, contacts, connections and clients. How do you employ the online channels, because you are such an active kind of connector, I guess, and know so many people around the industry, not only here in Australia but overseas in your connection to PRIA. How do you utilise those channels and your strategies, or what is kind of your social media or online kind of regime, I suppose, that gets you involved not only with colleagues but with clients?
I think you know social media. There's a lot of C-words connected with social media. For us, it's about the conversation, and so having conversations with lots of different people in Melbourne, across Australia, and around the world. And it's also about being creative and sharing our creative ideas, asking for other creative ideas. So it's a fantastic channel, all the different social media channels to get fresh ideas and to get creative approaches to things. So I think we for the C-Word, we look at it as an opportunity to go out there and get new ideas and new approaches to our clients' challenges, but we also look at it as a way to build relationships with people who aren't exactly next door, and also people who are next door and keep in contact with them without necessarily being in their face every day. So it's an amazing space to be in, and just a great way to keep those connections and conversations flowing.
Yeah. For young people that are perhaps wanting to dip their toe in setting up their own shop and going solo, you must have encountered kind of a few hurdles along the way and a few problems. Are there any kind of tips in terms of networking and connections, things to avoid, things that you thoroughly recommend doing, because it's such a big experience to go through setting up your own shop, and from your perspective we've seen it grow and grow so quickly, it continues to grow, the C-Word. A couple of big tips for the guys out there.
I think first and foremost, you can never have enough contacts and connections. So every person you meet has a different story to tell, and can be useful, and whether they're a communicator, whether they're a client, or whether they're just someone from a different industry who has a different idea or a different take on a problem or a different connection to make. So I think I've spent a lot of time talking to people, building relationships, and just spreading the word about the C-Word. I think also going out on your own and having a communications agency, you need to have a lot of experience and variety of experience. So I don't think you can ever you can never put your hand up for too many things, and you can never be trying your hand at too many different industries and different projects. So that has been a really great approach for me in just working with lots of non-profit organisations, working with lots of arts and creative organisations, and working with large organisations, perhaps in smaller parts of their team, and then moving into different areas. So just getting lots of experience across the board, and from there, your toolkit and your creative ideas is just full to the brim.
I want you to switch hats now. So we're going from Jack, the Managing Director of an agency, to Jack, the President of the Public Relations Institute of Australia, Victoria. Social media skill set, I suppose, from my perspective, really saw it grow really quickly from a couple of years ago at the PRIA conference in Brisbane, where the agenda seemed to be dominated pretty much by social media, and it's only grown from there. In terms of PRIA and the PRIA growing its member base, but also developing its communicators at a professional level, could you give us an insight into a few of the things you're kind of doing in that space, so social media and education and professional development?
Well, definitely in the last couple of years we've seen an increasing number of social media channels directly from the PRIA, but also from our members. So we're really focusing on, as Kristen was saying before, consolidating those channels and looking at what conversations are happening across the different channels and where we can be a part of them or support them. We're also looking at online delivery of courses and resources as a member benefit for Public Relations Institute of Australia members, because it's people can't always get along to events because of time commitments and different things at work and in personal life. So I think the more we can use Twitter and other social media channels to have conversations about public relations, and also deliver things like webinars and things like this as well, where reaching people and delivering the information that they need at a time and place that's convenient to them. So I think that's the best thing about social media and online technologies for a professional association, is just being able to reach people when it's convenient to them.
So if you are an overseas viewer, feel free to hop online to the PRIA. It's pria.com.au. You'll find links to the Victorian website there. There are a lot of webinars that are going to be taking place this year. Feel free to check them out and have a look at what Jack and the team are doing. There's a lot on the cards this year, I know. As an educator now, you've just decided to take one day a week out of your already pretty packed schedule to teach at RMIT University. An ongoing kind of question that I've seen and I've asked myself is, where do we see kind of social media fitting within communications education? There are already separate degrees popping up, I suppose. I know you're only beginning in your kind of role as an official communicator, although you connect and kind of mentor people quite frequently, I guess. Where do you perhaps see social media fitting within education in the future?
Well, I think first and foremost, social media is it's something that it draws on things in communication that we've been doing for years. So first and foremost, it's a new communication channel, but it's the same sort of communication we've been doing for millions of years. And I think that we need to reflect that in our communication courses, in that it's not a separate part of the communication toolkit. It's a part of the mix, and making sure that students understand and can build it into strategies and communication programs, rather than tacking it on to a communication campaign like that. So I think that's a really important step, is integrating it into the communication courses so that they see how it supports and complements other parts of the communication, other parts of communication campaigns and different things.
Absolutely. The final thing I want to ask you about today, you may not know, Well PR Forum is on in Melbourne. This city 18 months, November 2012. It promises to be absolutely huge, very early days, but as I said before, it's never too early to PR a PR event. So I thought we'd ask Jack, as the president of PRA Victoria. Look, we are still very early on in the piece. You can connect with World PR Forum actually on Twitter, World PR Forum, and Facebook. Search for the page. Just a bit of an idea, Jack. I know we're a long way out. Where are we, kind of, what can we expect? I know very early days, but any information we can share with you, share with everyone, and kind of get the ball rolling and people talking about the World PR Forum here in Melbourne.
So the World PR Forum happens every 2 years, and we're delighted to be bringing the 7th World PR Forum to Melbourne next year.
It's the first time it's been in Asia Pacific.
Yes, the first time in the Asia Pacific, and it will be in Melbourne at the Convention Centre from the 19th to the 21st of November. And basically it's a gathering of world communicators from across the world, so thought leaders, industry specialists, and it brings them together to discuss, debate, and present new ideas and different things. So at the moment, while we haven't bedded down a program of presentations and discussions, there's a lot of work going into making sure that over the next 18 months we're capturing the best of the case studies and thinking that's happening, so that by the time we get to November 2012, we've got different angles and different ideas for discussion from across the world. So it's the next 18 months for us as an association will be very exciting, because we'll really be talking to our members in Australia about what they can bring to the table in terms of case studies and papers and different things, but also asking them what contacts they have overseas and what topics they'd like to cover. And I think with social media, as we were saying before, it's really a global connecting tool. So we'll be using that and our members' connections with people overseas to make sure that we're tapping into communicators from around the world.
Fantastic. Well, if you've got some ideas out there, look, there's no shortage of case studies. I'd encourage you to jump online to Facebook, join the World PR Forum page, like the page, share a link. I know that the guys have been posting quite a few links at the moment about case studies. Share your thoughts, put a post down. If you'd like to connect with Jack, his Twitter handle is @the_C_word_agency. He'll have links there to his website and all his various professional social media pages. You can also read the Cellophane blog. There's some great interviews there with fellow communicators from down under and even in Britain. You've got some great guest posts up there. Jack, thanks so much for your time. It's been a real pleasure having you on.
Thank you.
We appreciate the insight, very early insight into World PR Forum and your insights as kind of a teacher and a managing director that's gone out on his own as an entrepreneur. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Until next time, look, that's it for another episode of Engage TV Down Under in Australia. Until we see you next time, take care, stay well, and we'll see you very again soon.